This changes gaming forever, and PlayStation might not recover from it. Right now, while everyone is busy arguing about graphics, exclusives, and which console is better, Microsoft might be building something that completely destroys the idea of console generations itself. Not a small upgrade, not a pro version, not even just a next-gen Xbox. I'm talking about a system that could merge PC and console gaming into one platform. No barriers, no locked ecosystem, no choosing sides. And the name being whispered right now? Project Helix. If this is real, and the leaks suggest it is, then what we're looking at is not just competition for PlayStation 6. This could be the end of traditional consoles as we know them. So what exactly is Project Helix? Why is Microsoft pushing in this direction? And most importantly, can Sony survive this shift? Let's break it down. First, we need to understand where we are right now. The current generation started in November 2020. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. Both launched with massive hype. Both promised faster load times, better graphics, and next-gen experiences. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. This generation has felt slow. Yes, we got great games. Yes, the hardware is powerful, but the jump from previous gen, it didn't feel as revolutionary as expected. And that's exactly why the next generation matters so much. Because now, companies can't just sell more power. They need to sell a completely new experience. And Microsoft seems to understand that better than anyone right now. Instead of just building a stronger Xbox, they're trying to eliminate the biggest limitation of consoles, the closed ecosystem. Think about it. When you buy a PlayStation, you're locked into PlayStation. When you buy an Xbox, you're mostly locked into Xbox. Sure, there's some crossover, but overall, you're choosing a side. That model has existed
for decades, and it worked because hardware defined the experience. But now, that's changing because the real power is no longer the hardware, it's the ecosystem. And this is where Microsoft has been playing a completely different game. While Sony focused on exclusives, Microsoft focused on access. Game Pass, cloud gaming, PC integration, cross-platform play, all of these moves weren't random. They were building towards something bigger. And that something might be Project Helix. So what is Helix actually supposed to be? Based on current leaks and industry direction, Helix is expected to be a hybrid console, not just in marketing, but in functionality. A system where you can play Xbox games, access Game Pass, run PC game stores like Steam, Epic Games, Battle.net, Ubisoft Connect, all on one device. Let that sink in. No need for a gaming PC, no need for multiple systems, just one machine, everything. And if that sounds familiar, that's because we've already seen early versions of this idea. Devices like the Asus ROG Ally, a handheld that runs Windows and can play full PC games. But Helix is expected to take that concept and scale it into a full home console experience. Cleaner, simpler, more powerful, and designed for the living room. Now imagine this. You turn on your console. Instead of being locked into one store, you see a dashboard with Game Pass, Steam, Epic Games, your entire library. No walls, no restrictions. That's not a console anymore. That's a gaming hub. And that changes everything. Because suddenly, the reason to choose between PlayStation and Xbox disappears. Now let's talk about why this is such a big deal. Because this isn't just about convenience, this is about control. Sony's entire strategy is built on exclusives and ecosystem lock-in. They create must-play games that only exist on PlayStation, and that forces players to stay within their platform. It's a powerful strategy, and it has worked extremely well. But Helix challenges that model completely, because if players can access most of their games on one system, exclusivity becomes less powerful. Not useless, but weaker. And that's a serious threat. Now, to be fair, Sony is not blind to this. PlayStation 6 is already being planned, and Sony will likely double down on what they do best. High-quality exclusives, strong storytelling, premium experiences. But the question is, will that be enough? Because the market is shifting. Gamers today care about flexibility, value, accessibility, not just exclusives. And Microsoft is positioning itself perfectly for that shift. Now, let's go deeper into Microsoft's strategy, because Helix
Helix didn't come out of nowhere. This has been building for years. Game Pass was the first major service that gives you access to hundreds of games. That alone changed how people think about buying games. Then came cloud gaming, the ability to stream games without needing powerful hardware. Then came PC integration, bringing Xbox games to Windows. Crossplay, cross-progression, unified accounts. Each step was removing a barrier, piece by piece, until eventually there are no barriers left. And Helix could be the final step in that plan, a device that ties everything together. Now let's address something important. There's a lot of confusion and misinformation around leadership and internal decisions. But the key takeaway is simple. Microsoft is investing heavily in ecosystem expansion. Not just hardware, not just software, but the entire experience. And that's why Helix makes sense. It's not a random idea. It's the natural evolution of everything they've been building. Now let's talk about the risks, because this isn't guaranteed to succeed. Opening the ecosystem sounds great for players, but it comes with challenges. Loss of control over distribution, revenue sharing with other platforms, security concerns, user experience complexity, and most importantly, it could blur the identity of Xbox itself. Because if everything is available, what makes Xbox special? That's a real question, and Microsoft will need to answer it. Now let's shift back to Sony, because this is where things get interesting. Sony has always been very controlled, very curated, very focused. They don't want an open ecosystem, they want a premium one, and that has worked. But if Helix succeeds, Sony might be forced to adapt. Maybe they open up more, maybe they bring more games to PC, maybe they change their subscription model, because staying the same could be dangerous. Now imagine the future, two possible paths. Path 1, traditional consoles continue, PlayStation 6 versus Xbox Next. Better graphics, better performance, same model. Path 2, hybrid systems take over. One device, multiple ecosystems, no boundaries. And if that happens, the console war doesn't just change, it ends. Because there's no war anymore, just platforms coexisting on the same hardware. And that's exactly what makes Helix so disruptive. It's not trying to win the current game, it's trying to change the rules completely. Now here's the final question. Will gamers accept it? Because at the end of the day, none of this matters if players don't care. But if history tells us anything, convenience wins, accessibility wins, value wins, and Helix offers all three. So we're standing at a very important moment in gaming history, the end of one era and possibly the beginning of another. The question is, will PlayStation 6 still dominate with exclusives? Or will Project Helix completely redefine what a console even is? Subscribe for daily gaming news and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.